You are here with the Real Therapist for the Culture. I am Dr. L.
And I am Sophia Cox today.
We are here. We are recording. You know what? I'm going to switch it up.
Oh, do so.
So at the beginning of this show, I am going to prompt everyone, wherever you are listening from. If you are on Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, please go to our profile and subscribe. Subscribe because you want to support. Subscribe because you want to know when we drop a new
episode.
Right. So I'm not going to say that for the end. I'm going to say it now.
I like that.
Hit the button. I think we deserve it.
It's true. And we finally hit the hundreds. Like, that's exciting.
We
like, come on, y'all. Y'all are really playing with us. It's been almost 5 years now. And we were so excited about, and YouTube, thank you for YouTube, because they definitely sent something with some confetti, like,
you
hit 100 subscribers. And I was just as hyped as they were. So keep it going for us.
And I'm gonna insert a hate right now.
Why? After that positive commercial?
No, because I'm gonna, and maybe this is just a plug. This is just a plug.
I like that.
So Journey got a YouTube channel. Journey got 64 subscribers.
What?
And she just opened her channel. She be recording her virtual slumber parties. Her virtual slumber parties where her and her friends are virtually having a slumber party. And it's weird, but I don't feel like in 2 months Journey should have almost as many subscribers as us.
That's true. That's true.
Show us some love.
I got you. So I see the hate. Yeah, that is a little hate. But I mean, are the kids cooler than us?
No.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
11-year-old should not have close to as many subscribers as 2 young black clinicians. Beautiful black clinicians, smart, with amazing teeth. Funny
too.
Degrees, all that's cute, but personality. No 11-year-old could fuck with that. You're right. I'm with you.
Okay.
Sorry, J-Bug.
Okay. All right.
So before we start, I want to bring this up, right? So I was on the phone with, in this moment, Shug. She was stalking these Jolly Ranchers that someone introduced her to. So I'm on the phone with her, and one thing about her is when she walks, you hear it. It's like swish, swish, swish. The hair swishing, the coat, like everything is moving. In college, it was the book bag just like clunking, and she's going. And I'm like, where are you? I'm on a mission looking for these Jolly Ranchers. I'm in Walmart. She's been looking for them. I'm like, what you mean? Like just regular Jolly Ranchers? She's like, no, not regular Jolly Ranchers. They're like two-sided and different flavors. I was like, well, damn. Yo, she ended up saying, got him. It was like supermarket sweet. Like, got him. And she found them. So I'm like, well, tell me where they are. She's going into this thing. I hate Walmart. I'm like, I love Walmart. So I'm like, tell me where they are because I'm going to find them too. She was like, no, I found them on top of the sodas. They're out of place. Like somebody hit them. I'm not buying into that. Somebody hit them. But nevertheless, she brought him here today at the studio. So this is what the kids do that makes them cool. I could make ZJ a tuna fish, and he has chips on the side, and he's like, look at this.
I forget what it's called.
Yes, not necessarily that, because you're just listening to the sound. Yes, he's describing. Yes. I'm going to give this an 8.5. So that's what I'm going to do now. That's going to get you to subscribe. Yo, if I drop this,
it's cherry orange flavor.
I'm tasting 2 flavors.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm giving this a 9.
Good, right?
Yeah.
It was worth it, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I'm going to find these.
I'm going to find some more.
But I hate candy on my teeth. But maybe they have a smaller bag and I could take out little bit by little. I'm going to put this out for now because I'm going to be very juicy mouth. I'm the one who's bringing the topic today. So I'm going to put this on the side, but these are a go.
They're good. It's 2-in-1 Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
Not to be mistaken for the 2-in-1 Jolly Rancher gummies, which were my I was hooked on those a few months ago too. They're very delicious.
Intense.
And so, but here we are.
Yeah.
We're almost in spring. So,
yes.
It's no secret today.
It's not a secret.
It's no secret today. one thing before you start your part 2, because so bringing us into part 2 of Reesa Teesa. Someone asked on our YouTube if we could clarify the concept of there being no red flags. And so and what they mentioned was, you know, people use terms and they don't really understand the terms that that they're using. And so by us saying that there really is no such thing as red flags, the concept is that it's not one standard running list.
Exactly.
Like, you know how there are rules, there are violations, there are standards, and it's very concrete. Doing this thing equals red flag.
We gave NFL examples.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there really isn't. If I meet someone who has children, for me that may be a red flag. For Sophia's like, nah, that's no problem for me.
Yeah.
So that's not a red flag. So the concept just really means that you can't blame somebody. Because I spoke to somebody yesterday and they told me what one of their red flags was from it. And I was like, oh, that was a red flag for you? And I'm thinking, I was like, that really...
Yeah.
So they said that talking on the phone was a red flag. And like you like the person never put the phone on speaker. So somebody not putting their phone call on speaker would not be a red flag for me. Like, I'm not putting my calls on speaker. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. You don't know what I'm going to say out my mouth. You should not put me on speaker. We even say, hey, the kids are there.
Hey, you got me in your ear?
Exactly. And to even add to that, right? So it's not necessarily there are no red flags. Like Dr. L just said, it's not this universal thing.
It's not a universal
thing. It's very individualized.
Yes.
So what's red flags to me is not for the next person. And going through this whole thing with Reesa Teesa, it was this attack at times where it's like you didn't see that as a red flag.
You ain't recognize that.
Right. And that's what we wanted to kind of clarify. Like, that's your red flag.
Yes.
That may not be. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's good. I'm glad that you did get to that. So with that being said, there's no secret. I ended by saying we have to bring this to a part 2. And mainly because it was good. It was really, really good. But it was mainly focused on Legion, right? And breaking down pathological versus compulsive and just all the different ones that you educated us on. But I said, we got to look at Teresa. We have to look at Reesa Teesa, because what happens in many, many, many relationships, we take this victim stance. And let me put this disclaimer, right? That this is from Reesa Teesa's Who the Fuck Did I Get Married? But this is not about Reesa Teesa. So hear me with that, right? This isn't about her. This is an opportunity for you to see the Reesa Teesa within you. Okay? So there may be some references to her, even some things that she stated, but for you to identify, when was the Reesa Teesa in you? Are you still Reesa Teesa in?
I got a text message, and I think this is I don't really engage in like social media debates. I'll read the comments for days, right? But I don't usually get involved. But there was someone who made this comment basically saying, how are you guys glorifying her? And like, she's basically coming up off of somebody's mental illness. And that she's exploiting him for her own gain. And how do you exploit somebody with a mental illness? And that's kind of just whatever. I think the power in her sharing her story, which is experience, hers, right? It is a reflection of what she perceived to have experienced, right? I got a text message yesterday that said, Dr. L, I am Reesa Teesa.
There you go. And that's what I want us to be able to do today. Yep, we got to see the liar in us, the white lie, the avoidant lies, all these different ones, right? But let's flip over to her.
Okay.
Where in relationships, when relationships end, if it's in marriage or breakups, things like that, it's easy to say, he was a pathological liar. He was cheating. He was this. He lied. He hurt me. He left me. And we walk away in that victim place and never taking our power and using that experience as a learning opportunity. Okay. Because at the end of the day, my favorite line is, you are with you all the time. You could disconnect from that person, you could break up, you could divorce, but you have to follow you all the time. So that's why I was like, oh, we can't just leave this here.
Okay.
Here we go. So I was so excited about this, and you guys know I always say, like, I just let spirit guide me, and I really did up until the other night. I said, how you really want to pick this apart? I don't want to just go through my psychology today. I really want to delve in so that you can see how she shows up in you. So what did I do? I came up with about 4 or 5 quotes that she made.
Okay.
And we're going to pick them apart. Just like that. So
pull them out. Got it.
I'm going to say one, and what I want you to do is kind of like 2-part. Under that quote, what could that person possibly be saying about themselves?
Okay.
And then 2, what do they run the risk of in that relationship by saying that?
Okay.
You got that?
What's the risk? Got it.
What's the risk, and what are they possibly saying? First one, I didn't want to be embarrassed by my friends and family. What are they saying to themselves, possibly? What are they saying about themselves? First thing that comes to your mind, you're talking to someone, and it's like, why are you staying in this relationship? I don't want to be embarrassed by my family or friends. Take your time, see what comes.
So
when people care about those kind of things, what's the first thing that you will point out what you're picking up about them?
Embarrassed by her friends or family?
Yes, that was one of her statements. Very early on, she stated, I'm not going to go through all of the comments, but that was one of her statements. I didn't want to be embarrassed by my friends and family. I didn't want to break up with this person.
And so it sounds like it's about what the anticipation of what people are going to say once she makes that decision. Whether it's the I told yous, whether it's the it could be from a totally different side. Damn, they don't never last with you. Like it could be an array of comments.
Yeah, so not so much the comments they anticipate. And soon as someone goes into their mind of not making a decision based off of other people, automatically the sign that comes up for you is, oh my God, what's these insecurities? Because I'm basing my decision in my relationship on the fact of what you are going to think. That's the number one thing that's coming up. I have these insecurities. What are these insecurities? How I'm going to be labeled. Oh, you in your 3rd relationship and it's only 7 months in the year. The last relationship didn't work when you told us it was. Those insecurities.
Get off of that dating app because you know they don't work.
Exactly. Another loud thing that this person may be saying, and again, think of this statement because we've said very either directly or indirectly, I don't want to be embarrassed. So I stay longer than I should because I don't want the ridicule or the assumption of the ridicule that other people. That also speaks to you because this is all about learning about you, that you're still in a space of seeking validation. That's you want that to be the alarm. I am not moving for me because something within me is saying this is not good.
Right.
But I'm staying because I don't want to be embarrassed. That means that I care about your validation
more than
my sense of peace, my happiness,
my
what's serving me,
my satisfaction, all of those things.
Absolutely. In all transparency, have you ever cared about how you were perceived?
Absolutely.
Relationship-wise.
Say, what do you mean? Like embarrassed by?
Okay, I had a child and I wasn't married. Was there thoughts that I felt like, oh my God, what are people gonna say? Yes. I'm not married, and it's like, oh, you're having a baby. Was that a thought? Did it linger to the point where my relationship was unhealthy and I stayed? Not necessarily, but the fact is, have you ever had the thoughts of what are people going to think?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How did you quiet it?
I don't typically stay in that space.
Okay.
I don't stay in that space very long because oftentimes I just don't give a fuck. Yeah, I just don't stay in that space. I think it's natural to just like when you bring somebody new around, right? You introduce somebody to your friends, you want to know what I want you to tell me what you think as opposed to going to the separate group
chat. I was about to say personalize it to I, right?
Right.
Okay,
so I would want my friends to say, oh, whatever comments you got, give them to me, right? Don't take it to the separate group chat to have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. But that's not gonna it doesn't weigh heavy with me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't weigh super heavy with me. I think when it gets to yes, there's layers of friends for me. So some people's opinions I might want them more than others. And then even if I go to the extreme to introduce somebody to my father, then I'm probably gonna be anticipating what is my father gonna say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, one of the things that when that has come up would be, what do I want? Mm-hmm. I start to assess, how am I feeling? Are you happy in this situation? Are you in a place where you feel like this relationship is thriving and things like that? And once I'm able to kind of say a few yeses, then I am able to quiet that. But when you don't do that, you get into this space of asking, so what you think? What you think about this person? Do you think that was a lie? So Reesa Teesa didn't say at the beginning, but throughout, you could tell that she started to seek validation from the friend who had took her to the hospital. So do you think this is crazy? Mm-hmm. Looking for that validation opposed to knowing what you truly already felt.
Okay.
And it's one thing to seek advice and opinions, but when you get stuck on not trusting yourself because you more so are concerned with other people's, that's when we get into an unhealthy space.
I agree, but I think the flip side is some people, and I think that the more she started to learn, she kind of got into this space a little bit, which was suffering in silence because you don't want to share what's happening because of what people are going to think. Mm-hmm. You don't want to share what you're uncovering because of what you think somebody is going to say. And so it's not that you need to seek out a validation in telling everybody else, but then I absolutely would not have been able to uncover this shit and not call you and say, bitch, where the fuck are you at? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but she started
and
early.
If I would have tried, if I would have tried, I probably would have been like,
exactly. But early on, she said, I didn't want to be embarrassed by friends and family. So it wasn't surprising that she wasn't sharing anything.
So we got two problems. You staying in some shit and you suffering in silence in it.
Exactly. So that's the second part, right? But we're going to hold off with, so what else is this person experiencing? The comparison chokehold. Why you don't want somebody else to know, or I don't want to be embarrassed by friends and family, because you comparing. And this society is like, oh, my cousins got married. I done been in 7 weddings and it hasn't been my turn yet. So this time I'm proving it's gonna be my turn. Which was her exact words. This was gonna be my turn. So again, and I call it the comparison chokehold because it literally has you in a chokehold where it's between social media, between direct family and friends. You're comparing what other people have experienced by your age.
Got it.
That's another thing that they're dealing with. So again, when you are saying, is there a little Reesa Teesa in me? Ask yourself, am I comparing myself to my 10 friends? 7 are married. Before you know it, you find yourself staying in a relationship that doesn't feel loving.
Absolutely.
Because of this. And the first sign is the statement. That statement then leads to the actions. Oh, I'm going to stay because I don't want to be embarrassed. Okay. All right. So another thing that happens to a person possibly when they make statements like this, they are looking at their relationship status as their worth. Because what are you embarrassed about? The relationship didn't end. But if you're connecting your relationship status to your worth, then it feels like it's something to be embarrassed about. Oh, I'm married. Okay, that's nice. But when you feel like your worth or your stock has raised because of that, you find yourself feeling, if I leave, I'm going to be embarrassed.
Or I don't have this label, this thing to increase my,
who I am. That's the danger. Like, when I was breaking this apart, it was like, oh my goodness. Such a simple statement can be uncovering these possible thoughts and beliefs you're holding about yourself. I did not want to end this relationship because I did not want to be embarrassed by my friends and family. What would you be embarrassed by? Say this was the 3rd relationship in 6 months. What are you embarrassed by? It didn't work. You were able to call it out and say, this doesn't feel good for me. I'm able to move on. What are you embarrassed about? Unless you are connecting this to your worth. I remember.
That's sad.
It's sad, but it's realistic. And many people are experiencing this every day.
I absolutely
I'm 40
know.
and I haven't been married, or I'm not a mother yet, or I haven't purchased a home yet. Many people are connecting these labels to who they are.
Absolutely.
So it's beyond sad. It's more so supporting people and getting the awareness to shift these beliefs so that you could kind of really be standing in all of your very, very powerful worth.
Right. And when you become focused on achieving the label, acquiring the label, it takes your attention away from the experience. And basically you're not living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what you should be, or what serves us better is the experience that you're trying to find.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you want in this relationship, or do you just want to say I'm in a relationship?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's very challenging, and I know in a disclaimer I was saying that this isn't really about Reesa Teesa. What I really want to say is that this is an episode that could really make you say ouch. Reverend Jamal Bryant will say, Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant used to say, if you can't say amen, say ouch. And this might be one of those episodes where it's like, ouch.
Absolutely.
Because this is kind of this space of being really raw and authentic with saying that I could clearly admit when I got divorced at 29 years old, I remember having a conversation with my grandmother, and my nosy aunt was in another room, and I was like, I feel like a failure, crying vulnerably to my grandmother, and my aunt busted in the room and was like, shut the fuck up, you are amazing, you're a star, like just the regular sweating thing that my family do. But I really wanted to say that, and my grandmother was like, a failure to who? And I was like, to me, I guess. And she was like really doing therapy on me, like another question and another question to really get me to a place to say, I guess you're right. No one. Like, I made a choice and it's not for me anymore. I had the experience that I truly was in. many things was birthed from it, and I'm okay with that. But I had to be honest to say that out my mouth to an entrusted person that I felt like a failure. That was that.
Yeah.
Like at that age, I already had finished 2 degrees. I was a homeowner. I was a new mom. I'm like, I'm killing this. And I'm not even 30 yet. Like, and many people are striving to be chosen and all of that. There was a part of me that felt like being married and having these things did add to my worth. So it was really an opportunity for me to revamp how I was seeing life. And
that's beautiful.
That's very vulnerable for me to say that, just to let you know that you're not alone with really dissecting that. People will play like, yeah, that's not me, never had that experience. Bullshit, they're lying. And if not, it may not have been to that extent, but everyone has had some experience of feeling like, oh man, I didn't show up this way, I failed, it didn't work, kind of thing, or attaching something to their worth, so that's little pin I wanted to add. So when you have these kind of things that I broke down, this is what the person may be going through. What do they run a risk of in a relationship with all these things marinating about themselves? They're in this comparison chokehold. They have these insecurities. They're seeking self-validation. They are looking at their relationship status to their worth. What could be happening in the relationship?
No satisfaction. Mm-hmm. No satisfaction. Misery is what comes to my mind. Like, stagnation, right?
Yeah,
like,
being stuck.
Like being absolutely stuck, right? When I talk to people when I have conversations with people and they are like so focused on getting married, buying the house, all of these things, I always go back to, what do you want in that marriage, right? Mm-hmm. If you are focused on all of these other external things, then to me, you're not focused on magnifying or, enhancing the experience of being in the relationship. If you worried about everybody outside of it, you might be neglecting your partner at the same time.
Absolutely. That's definitely on the list. Because if you are not able to even be able to own and acknowledge any of this, you're not even being genuine with the other person.
So let's think about the first Sex and the City movie, right? Mm-hmm. First Sex and the City movie, what's her name again?
Which one?
Big and
Sarah Jessica,
right? Carrie and Big. So they're gonna get married. They got this history. They're really like humble. They got a cute little love story. And what happened throughout the movie is it became more and more and more about the things outside. What are people gonna say? What should I be doing? How should I be doing this based off of who I am? And the more and more she focused on outside, the grumpier her guy got. Mm-hmm. And the more he was like, who the fuck are you? Yeah. Type of thing. And so, you run the risk of sabotaging your own relationship. Absolutely. To be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You end up sabotaging it. The other person builds this resentment to you. Imposter syndrome is happening. You're lying to others. You're exaggerating what's happening to make it seem like things are good. You're withholding from yourself and your partner because you can't even identify what is happening. And you're just staying in a space just to say you're in a relationship. It's like you get to check it on an application, like in relationship, or on Facebook, relationship status, boyfriend.
I will never change my relationship status on Facebook.
I don't even know what mine is. I'm never on Facebook, so I don't even know I don't even know what it says. But yeah, so it's
maybe I'll change it today just for shits and giggles.
Oh, okay. Knock yourself out. So yeah, you just
I'm
stay.
changing my shit to engage today.
You just stay. knowing that you're not even happy, but just to get the years in. It's been 7 years. It's been 10 years, but it's not fulfilling. All right, so that was one of her statements. Let's go to another statement that she said. I didn't want to be alone anymore. What could possibly this person, because it's the Reesa Teesa within all of us, right? So the person who says, I don't want to be alone anymore, what can they possibly be dealing with? What's the things they're telling themselves? What's the things that's happening within?
I'm not, like, nobody cares almost, right? Like, when I'm thinking about what happens when feelings of loneliness, I'm in this world by myself. Depression absolutely comes to my mind. It may not be depression. It might just be, some chronic sadness, It could be anger. I in all transparent, I pulled up to the gas station and I was telling my friend, I never like go in my stories and say certain things, but you're off Facebook. You're off of social media. So I went into my Instagram the other morning while I was at the gas station and I was ranting. I said, nothing reminds me more that I'm single than pumping fucking gas. And I despise pumping gas.
Because if you was married, you would never pump gas?
I said because if I said because
right, Dino, I'm sorry, I had to look at our producer because it's like, what are you talking about?
I wouldn't.
He was in a marriage. He's with you all the time.
That's a requirement in my relationship. Pump my gas. Make sure every night before make sure my car always has gas.
I'm reading an amazing book about
unrealistic That's all I want.
Expectations, and that would be one.
It doesn't have to be every time, but like that's what I want. That's what I mean. And so, like, anger could come up, right?
Clearly,
resentment.
Look like you got cheeks got a little red about pumping gas, but I hate
pumping gas, right? And so those types of thoughts start to set in. I've heard people say like attaching it to like being worthless, like nobody unseen, nobody sees me.
That's
all of those.
Absolutely. So when Reesa Teesa was saying, I'm sorry, I put the Jolly Rancher back.
I that, I'm sorry. And you sound mad saucy.
I know, and I hate when you are saucy. When she wear retainers or something, I'll be like, "You got them in?" Like I want her to take them out against the dentist's rules. But this is really good. What she was saying is, she stayed because, one, I didn't want to be embarrassed by friends and family, and I didn't want to be alone anymore. And all of those points that you hit, some depressive symptoms, just some prolonged sadness, feeling unworthy and unseen. When you say I'm going to stay in a relationship because I don't want to be alone anymore, that also is saying to you what's happening within. Some low self-esteem may be happening. Some low self-worth. When you feel like, I am unworthy, so I have to stay here because I'm not going to get anything else.
Questioning yourself in a way of like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Right? And that can weigh very, 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 very heavy.
And one of the things that is really the umbrella. Look at this, a little ant or a gnat. One of the things that umbrellas all of this is just the fear. That you are already assuming what your future will look like. I have to stay here because the fear is, if I don't stay in this relationship, I'll always be alone. I'll never find anyone again. So I have to stay with this liar, this abusive person, this very just cold and disconnected person, because the fear of, I don't want to be like Auntie V. Auntie V is 65 and never been married, never had a long-term relationship. You start to see the things or the people in your life who's still single and older than you, the fear will also put you in a chokehold. So it's like, I'm just going to stay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay and deal with this. And again, it's not really about like sadness. I want you guys to just have the openness and not judge yourself like, oh, that's stupid, or why do I have those thoughts? It's awareness is a game changer. Awareness is put into place to shift you to make a different choice.
Yeah.
Not for you to criticize or ridicule yourself. It's really like, damn, have I had those thoughts? Have I stayed in this unhappy relationship or marriage just because I fear being alone?
Loneliness is real, though. Like I think loneliness is real, and I think
it is real.
What I had been, I hate that people use COVID as an excuse for so many things because of COVID. Since COVID, however, I think when I listened to this story, a different light bulb went off for me. So when COVID was happening, any inquiries that I got for couples counseling, to me, it was because y'all are stuck together and you're realizing you really don't like one another. And you're around each other way more than you want to tolerate. And things was coming up. Got like the most inquiries for couples counseling during COVID. Now, what I'm seeing, 2023, 2024, inquiries that I get for couples are a lot of people who met in COVID, just like Reesa Teesa, and they almost like fast track things because it was, I don't want to be alone, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I am not gonna be. I rather risk it all and move in with this complete fucking stranger. Loneliness is real. The idea of loneliness is extremely, extremely scary.
Exactly.
For a lot of people.
And when you don't identify it, it is very easy to make impulsive decisions.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, oh no, it's just because they were attractive, or he was funny, or was charming. It's like, no. What's really driving your decision making is, I don't want to be lonely anymore. So now here I am. And that's the thing. It's easy for us to be in a victim place. This person did this to me, opposed to, oh, wait a minute. I made this decision based off of this. I gotta eat some of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not gonna legion every relationship. See yourself in every situation, every relationship. So this person runs the risk of what? So we're clear on what they may be experiencing, the thoughts, the beliefs they may be holding, but what happens in a relationship when the person theme is, I don't want to be alone anymore.
The first thing that comes to my mind is settling.
Absolutely.
For anything.
If it's chronic infidelity, chronic lying, financial
domestic
problems,
violence,
any form of abuse, it's, I'm going to stay because I'm not going to be alone. They also stay because it's like, well, it's already been 11 months. It's already been 3 years. People from COVID, now that life is open and you still together, because you start to convince yourself, I've invested time and energy. Somebody else ain't going to get this hard work I put in.
Understand.
Women can't stand that, thinking that you raised this man. He is a grown man, and it's like, I've invested, and his credit is good now, and he's romantic now, and he's this and he's that. I'm not gonna let someone else get that. But you think that it's about your investment, but the core under that is really, I don't want to be alone anymore. You have to be able to identify these core beliefs we're holding.
Yeah. Because
these core beliefs will impact your decisions, and you convince yourself or justify the decision by making up stuff. I invested so much money. I don't want to break the lease. Why not? Why not?
Or
why not?
Hey,
and people kill me when they say that might be easy for you. No, I'm not saying that it's easy. It's a choice. Every choice isn't an ideal choice, but I'm choosing me first. So if that means I'm gonna have to pay this landlord or this co-op installments the same way that you do a firm or whatever easy pay people do for fashion.
Afterpay.
Or whatever it's called. Like, people do that for the things that they want. Break that down for that co-op too. Or that management and say, but it's like, no, we're going to stay because the lease isn't up until next February. So you're going to stay for another 13, 14 months because I invested. But now your children are exposed to this. You are mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally exposed to this.
Yeah.
The other person is going through this, but I invested.
Yeah.
So again, think about these things that you're saying to yourself and see how it's impacting your decision making. Okay.
What else we got?
Oh, this one I like this one. This isn't my favorite one, but this is one. Are you so jaded you don't even know a good man when you got one? So a little bit of context to this, because I know we're like weeks after this is dropped, and I didn't go and listen to them again, but this was when she was saying to herself, okay, this is a lie. I know that this is a lie. And then she's like, this is a dialogue she's having within.
Okay.
But then she's saying to herself, no, but you saw some paperwork, you saw the bank account. And then she said, are you so jaded you don't even know a good man when you have one? What could that person be experiencing?
And so I was talking about this one kind of the other day, and I was talking about it. I'm going back to, because it keeps coming up, of course, in conversations. And so, I was talking to someone, and they were saying, I don't regret what I did, but I should have seen X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I think this statement is still a reflection of balancing the narratives in your head that either have come from other people or that have come from within. Case in point. So I have had people tell me like, you don't give anybody a chance. You too whatever, insert whatever label, too bougie, stuck up, whatever the case is. You're too hard on men. All of these things. You're too independent. You're too this. And so sometimes when you that starts to really equal questioning your decisions or making you backtrack. So now I see this thing glaring in front of my face, but what I hear in my mind is, you're too hard on people. What does that equal? I'm gonna act like I didn't see this. You kind of understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. You're just not saying the word, but I'm gonna let you keep going.
Oh, what's the word?
Self-doubt. That's all this is. Self-doubt and mistrust of self.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Don't matter if it's history of poor decision making in relationships, or having quite a few relationships, or things people have said to you. It boils down to, I doubt myself when I know what I know.
Absolutely.
When I'm hearing what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. And I'm still doubting everything that's in front of me, because and I it was no need to give that beginning part, because this is the Reesa Teesa that happens within. Don't matter who you are, you could start strong by saying, yeah, because he was lying about this, and I have the Google Maps to see it. I saw the text message. The iPhone was connected to the iPad, and all this savvy shit that people get to do, and still come behind and say, but maybe I'm just really not seeing his growth. But maybe because John had cheated on me, I feel like everybody is a cheater.
Maybe I'm making this all up in my mind.
I got a good man here. Very well, you could. However, what you have on the MacBook and the iPad and the watch still says this happened. But this self-doubt is so loud, I'm going to push it to the side.
Yep.
And when you have that level of mistrust for you, it is impossible for you to trust someone else.
I agree.
100. You cannot finagle it. You will never be able to trust anyone when you have that level of mistrust within. It's one thing to question, right? Like, am I bugging? And then you still keep going back to what you felt, what you seen, what you know, and then it's like, okay. But when you chronically do it to the point where you avoid or dismiss or deny what's in your face, that's a different situation. Mm-hmm. That's a different situation. And again, not making this personal about Reesa Teesa, just allowing us all to see the version of her that's within, because there was things, and it was like she needed more and more to then be able to say, this is it. She had a 9-hour movie. She could have stopped 3 hours in.
Absolutely.
But because of the mistrust and the self-doubt that she has been energetically holding for so long, she needed to keep building her case. Like your ammunition kind of thing, right? Like where I need to have it all because the first 10, I'm not sure. That is one that is so powerful, and more times than not, we're talking to people who's aligned like us, right? So when you say this to someone else, many people wouldn't be able to kind of pick that apart and say, well, wait a minute, why you doubting yourself? You saying you know what you felt. Most people feed into it like, no, girl, you're right. He is good. Are you bringing the baggage from John over here? Is this really about something else? Because you attract people who have the same irrational beliefs that you have.
Yeah.
So there's always an outlier here and there, but more times than not, your circle is reinforcing this.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of it has to just be inner work. Not saying that not to talk to people and things like that, but this kind of awareness, this kind of shift is a one-man show.
Yeah. And so, you know, a lot of people, and I don't think we are raised to trust our feelings.
Tell me more.
I think that what happens, even in considering like being a parent, right, with our kids, right? And so if our kids are experiencing a problem or something, we just create the solution, right? And maybe it's a little bit different, like for us sometimes, because we're always asking our kids, like, so what you feeling?
Exactly.
Right.
I was about to say, like,
I was not raised to go with what I feel, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, feelings wasn't a big thing in my house, right? And so now I think a lot of what I do is based on how I feel. If something doesn't feel good to me, that is what I'm saying. This doesn't feel good. This is a problem. Something has to be fixed right now. But even in the person who texted me yesterday and said, I am Reesa Teesa, I didn't even ask why. I said, so what you gonna do?
Exactly.
They said, what should I do? I said, You need to ask yourself a question. What am I feeling? How is this making me feel?
Yeah.
And making decisions off of that. And so you didn't ask what the risk is, but you still end up in stagnation because when you don't trust yourself, Soph said you can't trust other people, but my thought is when you don't trust yourself, you will not be able to make decisions.
Exactly. Because a decision is going to get made regardless if you're a bystander or you're an active participant in your life. A decision is going to be made with your involvement or not.
Yes. And if you are not active in the decision making process, or you become you start to have decision paralysis, then you're absolutely giving control of your life to someone else.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of what we saw unfold in those episodes.
Exactly. And that's the risk. That's the risk. You get to a place where you could start tolerating everything because you don't even trust what you're feeling, what you're seeing. You could easily be gaslit so often because it's like, well, damn, am I nagging all the time? Am I being really critical and harsh on him? You really run the risk of just being gaslit easily because you don't trust what you're feeling. You doubt yourself. That's another risk. Definitely just being stuck, staying where you've already been clear that this isn't for you. So yeah, constantly questioning yourself.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest nagging thing. Is this true? Is this that? Is that that? All right, so this is the last one.
Okay.
This is my favorite one.
Okay.
I wanted what I wanted more than I wanted to be obedient. Whew. That's my favorite. That is my favorite because I don't care. That is sometimes more common for me. Even if people are not using that language, that one is more common that I think people have than I don't want to be alone anymore. Because people will say 9 out of 10 relationships that end, I knew I should have left. I should have been gone. I was getting all kind of crazy signs that this wasn't the person for me. The first date, I knew it. So I'm going to read it again. I wanted what I wanted more than I wanted to be obedient. And when she's saying obedient to the signs that she was getting, what she was hearing. She wasn't making it about spirituality per se, but what she knew to be true is what she means when she says, I wanted what I wanted more than I wanted to be obedient.
So I'm sitting here, I'm laughing because, so I do think it was some of her references were in regards to spirituality, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was at one point when she said, I ignored the signs. She was like, because that first date I got a flat tire and I could have been saved right there if I just would have taken my ass home and not proceeded with that date. And I called Sophia in transparency and I was like, bitch. I said, did I say I'm Reesa Teesa too?
You didn't say it that way. You was like, yo, do you remember I had a flat tire?
Do you remember when I was going on that date, I got a flat tire?
And I did not recall that. I did not.
And she was like, what? And I said, that first date, I had a flat tire on 695. I was going home to get myself together. It was an amazing date. But I should have taken my ass home. I didn't know. I didn't know it was a sign. So the obedience part, right? I agree. A lot of times we are very, very we're in our head, right? Mm-hmm. We're in our head and all the conversations are happening in your head. And one of the things that Sophia says all the time is that your narratives tell you what you want your narratives to tell you. Right? So the things that you're telling yourself are the things that you want to hear. And so if you're not ready to leave that relationship, your narratives are going to feed.
Exactly.
Your narratives are going to feed that.
Because what's going to happen is the universe, spirit, Allah, God, Jesus, Jehovah is not going to stop whispering.
Now, I'm going to say
so your narrative and your story is still going to keep happening, but those entities are still speaking. You just get to choose to listen, respond, or dismiss.
And it's going to get more and more intense.
Exactly. It gets louder, right? So it's really about learning how to this is a takeaway now, really learning how to ground yourself and be still, because the whispers, when life is loud, the relationship has a lot going on, you playing detective, you at the courthouse trying to figure out, you on case search, you looking through social media, you on the Apple Watch, the iPad, in the Mac, like all of these things, life is loud. No way you're hearing spirit whisper, right? So then it goes into a little pebble that's thrown. Hey, daughter, trying to get your attention. Because it's still too loud. You deep in this case now, right? Because you're looking for a lot to prove to yourself you're not crazy, right? And then it's a rock. And it's like,
then it's a boulder.
Wait a minute. I think I felt that. And I was like, girl, you don't know a good man when you got one. He paying these bills. You ain't never had that before. And he looking at a $500,000 house for you. So we missed the rock. Then the boulder come, and that does shake you up a little. Like, you know what? I think we need some space, sleep in the other room. I'm falling back from you. I'm not really calling you that much. But then you get pulled right back in because of this self-doubt and these insecurities that we are not really identifying and shifting, right? And then the whole building collapse. Then the police are there. And then you're getting your locks changed. Then you're getting restraining orders. Then there's a divorce, and you're crying at the hearing. And these could be very large and not all end that way, but it's because of not being able to hear what is happening. So this person, what is this person? This person is really still questioning themselves. There's still a lot of self-doubt and mistrust this person is possibly thinking. But they also are in a different place of being able to discern their voice from whatever their spirituality is. That's the big one that happens here.
That's like, hard.
Is that my negativity? Is that my childhood trauma? Is that my daddy issues? Is that where you're not at a place where you know the difference?
Yeah.
That's what's happening with this person. And that is very challenging. But that is definitely going through this person's head. And before you know it, you're trauma bonding. It's like, oh my God, they grew up without a father too. Oh, they know what it's like being in the city. They know this, they know that. And this wound attachment is based off of this brokenness.
Yeah. And because so you're going to get, I'm not going to say brokenness, but it's going to be very unstable.
It's going to be, that foundation is going to be very, very shaky because I'm so driven on what I want. You know what this reminds me of? The series that I started of no longer chasing perfection and walking in excellence. This person, this type of person that we all can experience is so focused on their goals. I want to be married by this age. I want to have 2 kids by this age. I want this white picket fence. I want all of this that I can't hear. This also is a person who may be really still struggling with the truth of who they are.
Absolutely.
And don't get me wrong. Hear me when I say that. Because when I say that, people will say like, no, I think I know who I am. Even you saying, I think I know who I am, is an indicator, not really. Now, we constantly are evolving. Like, I love the title of First Lady's Obama book, Becoming, right? It's like, don't forget your ing. We are evolving. You're not just, you haven't arrived, right? But where I am today, do I have a sure-footed sense of who I am today, knowing that evolution is still coming? That's what I mean of being sure of who you are. When you get to that place, you do start to hear a little clearer. Of course, there's going to be some things to miss you because life gets loud. But when you are just a little bit more sure of where I am today, it's like, okay, wait a minute. I am hearing it's time to go. I'm also hearing, no, you need to stay and figure things out. Because it's not always saying leave, but it may be saying get some stuff in order.
Yeah.
Get some things in order. What else you got?
For
that, what the person runs the risk for saying I wanted what I wanted more
not
than
being obedient.
Than being obedient.
So I'm not saying that she lost her baby because she wasn't obedient, right? But I do think that she later reflected that, and I think she even said, like, in that loss, I kind of dodged a bullet.
That's exactly how she said it.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so, but what I am saying is, just like you said, you run the risk of experiencing more detrimental catastrophes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because it like, that is when it's like, this could get worse. This could get, like, you have no idea, like, what you could be bringing in to your space. And so, yeah, I think you run the risk of subjecting yourself for more chronic, prolonged trauma.
Exactly, because what's going to happen is you're going to get the lesson. You just get to determine when you get it. You get it early or you get it late, when more things happen, where it has to get louder, where the whole building has to fall, but you're going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, Reesa Teesa invited this man to her classroom. And what I mean is, life is your classroom.
Yeah.
It's just yours. From a friend to an intimate partner to family members, you invited each person there to teach you something. So that's why it was important for me to flip the other side of this, to not focus just on that. Mental health is significant, right? But then also, you got to be able to identify, why did I call this person into my classroom? If you don't get it with Legion, you'll see another one. It'll be Jason, it'll be Sean, it'll be Chris. It may not look the same, but until you are able to really dissect what your role was, why you needed to call this person in for you to go to the next level, you'll be stuck.
Yeah.
Ultimately, single or not. So it's really important to be able to say, like, wait a minute, am I saying these things to myself about relationships, in them or not even in them?
Yeah.
Because you do run the risk of losing yourself by the chase of that car she wanted, that house, the chase of the money, how it's supposed to look to her family and her friends. She lost herself at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also run the risk of growing resentment to the other person, because they're not living up to these expectations of this chase that you thought it was supposed to be. You're resenting them, but really the truth of the matter is, it's really internal resentment.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to project it on you. So again, even paying attention to that in your relationship, you're so mad at your partner. Is that really inflicted, like, some individual stuff?
Absolutely. It's a reflection of how you feel about yourself.
Because I didn't listen to what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
What I should have spoke up about, what I should have set boundaries about. Am I really mad at them, or am I upset with myself?
Yeah.
So this was my way of supporting us, of really seeing some of Reesa Teesa in all of us.
Absolutely. And I guess what I want to say is, I am a firm believer. Like, I often say, I've said it on here, I say it to people, clients, everybody all the time, like, don't drag yourself, right? And it's there is a line between being honest with yourself, having tough, honest conversations with yourself, it's necessary to decide how you want to move forward. Yeah. It's not something that needs to be prolonged. Like, Reesa Teesa, she acknowledged, she was like, I'm going to tell this story regardless of how it makes me look. I'm not saying that, I'm not taking myself out of the equation. Whatever work she's doing in therapy is the work that she's doing in therapy. The important thing is that you try to seek the lesson in the experiences. Absolutely. As opposed to just dragging yourself about it, like, oh, I shouldn't have, it's my fault, I'm so stupid, and like all of those things. That's not necessary.
Absolutely.
You know.
So there was takeaways throughout, but one of the biggest one is having self-compassion, because awareness is challenging. I was on a podcast, Hermits and Hustlers, a couple of weeks ago, and the host Daphne said, Sophia, why do you think it's so challenging to put the mirror up in front of you? I'm like, it's scary. It's scary that I have to what could be perceived as dissecting myself apart and calling out stuff that I've been judging other people for, seeing my trauma, and then realizing, whoa, if I make some changes, that means everything around me might change. I might not be attracted to these friends anymore. I might not even want to live where I'm living or work. That means everything around me,
I'm gonna lose something,
may shift. I'm like, that is so scary.
Yeah.
But it's necessary, right? So some things are scary, but it's necessary. But you guide yourself with this level of warmth and gentleness. I tell people, handle me with care. I don't care if you think because I'm from Brooklyn, I do talk a little rough, I talk with my hands. I don't care about any of that. Handle me with care. Speak to me in a way that feels
You just gave
loving.
me a flashback. No.
No?
Are you kidding me, buddy?
Okay.
Yo. So
Handle
wait a second.
me with care.
So Sophia is, y'all wouldn't believe this, but she's one of my most sensitive friends, right? But she's very rough too, and so in her sensitivity, there's an ironic roughness, and so y'all see how we digress at least once every show, right?
we made it pretty far this one,
but. We went out the other day, right? We went out the other day, and so I took a little walk. Mind you, about 5 bottles of Moet in, right? I took a little walk, and I took a little walk around and just see what was happening around other places. I go to the bathroom, mind you. I go to the bathroom and my phone is like, where did you go? I can't see you. I'm like, bathroom? She starts sending angry faces, right? I come back and he's like, don't do that. And I'm like, what? Don't do that. Don't walk off. I saw you and then I didn't see you. And I'm like, it's not funny. Like, but what I had to see in my friend was scared. She thought somebody kidnapped me or something, and I was like, okay, all right, like, okay, but yes.
Listen,
like roughneck here was like, she was like, and I had to see that. You're right. I'm gonna handle you with care. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. So handle you with care, self-compassion, real empathy. If you had a friend that was experiencing what you have gone through, how would you handle them? Usually with a gentleness. I tell people, even think about small kids in your life. They fall. It's like, you okay? How are you? Tell me how you feel. You blowing air and all this to the knee. Handle you that same way. However, really doing some introspection is necessary.
Yeah.
But you do it in pieces where it doesn't have to feel so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But we are not gonna just continue to Reesa Teesa.
I just want to say, try to be mindful, and if you don't already do this, my thing is start to learn to trust your feelings. Understand that you can't rush that process either, and so sometimes if you're unsure what it is that you're feeling or what it is that you're experiencing, just ask for space. Like, you know what, I need to figure out what this is that I'm feeling. I need some time, I need some space to figure out. And it will, if you are patient with it, it will become very, very clear to you. But you don't have to rush it.
Yeah.
You don't have to rush it.
No, you don't. So this was good. We are officially back. This is our 3rd episode in this season.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram at Real Therapists, Facebook at Real Therapists. You could email us any kind of inquiries, any new topics you want to hear at realtherapists@gmail.com. Did I miss anything? You could listen to us on all platforms.
You got it.
Yeah, Dr. L already told you guys her very cute commercial. Go to YouTube, subscribe first, then like and comment.
Comment. We will respond.
We really do. So you're going to hear from one of us. You definitely will. Until next time, be kind to you.
Peace.